That was unpleasant. Second, whenever we picked up our phone, we'd always press the volume up and power button accidentally, which is the new take a screenshot button combination. Apple has disabled this action whenever the phone screen is off. Our iOS 12 Photos app is no longer going to be filled with errant screenshots on the daily. New iOS 12 features have been revealed thanks to the ongoing beta, and it's all changing up your iPhone and iPad for the better, according to Apple. You can get the iOS 12 developer beta now, as we'll explain below, wait for a likely public beta at the end of the month, or get the final version with new 2018 iPhones. Apple unveiled a host of features at WWDC, but there are actually more changes coming to your old iPhone and iPad than it officially mentioned earlier this month. There are also several hints within the iOS 12 software regarding Apple's hardware roadmap, including references to a new Apple Watch 4 for 2018. No, it isn't the biggest software update, but it's obvious Apple is making its mobile operating system to make it both reliable and competitive with Google's Android P. You'll be able to test it early, as there will likely be 3 iOS 12 release dates, one for developers, one for public beta testers, and one final version for everyone else. The first developer beta is available now. But it's early software and you must be a registered Apple developer. That costs money, $99 for the annual membership. The iOS 12 public beta typically launches after iOS 12 developer beta 3. And if Apple's history tells us anything, it should be on or around June 26. This beta is free and less problematic, with a few more weeks in the cooker. Both versions of the iOS 12 beta will be unfinished software, so we advise you to proceed with caution before deciding to install iOS 12 Developer Beta 1 on your primary device. Waiting for the public beta is a safer choice. Apple called out the iPhone 6 Plus, specifically, saying iOS 12 makes this phone 40% faster at launching apps, 70% faster at launching the camera app, and 50% faster at displaying the keyboard. Keyboard typing and other routine features on older iPhones can slow down with every new iOS update, and Apple is looking to change these pain points with iOS 12. iOS 12 hints at Apple Watch 4. Apple is readying an Apple Watch 4. At least according to an iOS 12 developer beta 2 update that references Watch 4,1, Watch 4,2, Watch 4,3 and Watch 4,4. ARKit 2 and multiplayer gaming. ARKit 2 allows for shared experiences, multiplayer potential. Lego, Fender, Adobe and Pixar are all working on AR with Apple. iOS 12 cements Apple as a leader in augmented reality, AR. With the arrival of groundbreaking multiplayer capabilities it calls shared experiences in ARKit 2, these multi-user virtual environments are coming to ARKit, allowing for multiplayer gaming and experiences through iPhones and iPads. iOS 12 is going to create a more collaborative, and competitive, way of experiencing AR. LEGO demoed a 4-player game, pledging that it was in when it came to Apple's creative play possibilities. Players were involved in building up an AR town. It was like The Sims was reimagined for the future. ARKit 2 opens up AR to hundreds of millions of users, according to Apple, and that makes iOS 12 the broadest AR platform in the world. We got a taste of AR last year, but multi-user virtual environments bring more advanced tools and gameplay. iOS 12 pinpoints 911 calls in the US. You won't have to worry about reciting your exact location when calling 911 in the US thanks to iOS 12. It'll pinpoint your whereabouts during emergency calls. Apple says it'll automatically and securely share your iPhone location with first responders, but only with them and only during such emergencies. It's an effort to reduce response time, yet maintain your privacy. New Measure app and USDZ file format. New USDZ file type dedicated at augmented reality. Measure app for iOS 12 to replace your measuring tape. Advertisement. Measure is getting its own AR app. It uses the iPhone's and iPad's advanced sensors to measure objects in front of you, including suitcases, as shown in the first iOS 12 demo. All it takes is just tap and drag along the edges of the object on the screen. It can also automatically detect the approximate dimensions of a photo. We can imagine that will help when you go to buy a photo frame, but can't find the old-fashioned tape measure. iOS 12 to the rescue. For our developers, Apple has created a new file type called USDZ. The company worked on USDZ with Pixar, and Adobe is supporting it, too. The file format can be shared across files, mail, messages, and Safari. This is an important step forward for developers working on our apps. Camera app changes. Apple didn't announce big camera changes at its WWDC 2018 keynote, but later said that the default camera app will get tweaked with iOS 12. The portrait lighting mode on newer iPhones with a dual-lens camera will look more natural. The software will be able to define crisper edges by more effectively separating a person from a background scene. Apple is also allowing third-party apps to use the software to separate the foreground and background. It'll be the end of an era for our how to scan a QR code from your iPhone and iPad guide. The default camera in iOS 12 makes QR code reading automatic. And while not part of the camera app, RAW photos can be imported and managed on an iPhone and iPad, with the bonus ability of editing RAW photos on an iPad Pro. Photos app is now smarter with iOS 12. Better search in a new For You tab. Suggestions on who to share photo collections with. Share back suggestions nudge friends to send their photos. Advertisement. The Photos app is expanding search in an effort to compete with Google Photos. It recognizes photos by event and indexes them accordingly. Apple says it takes into account over 4 million events, citing the Aspen Ideas Festival as a niche example. This lets you search by event without any thankless manual tagging. Searching by event joins other smart suggestions, including filtering by people, places, and relative dates. Searching via Siri works with all of these and is quite handy. The iOS 12 Photos search capabilities have also been broadened to let you use multiple search terms at once. Seeking dog, animal should weed out all of your gourmet hot dog results. This is a real problem we just tested on iOS 11. A new tab for you is coming to the iOS 12 Photos app, filled with personalized suggestions on how to improve and share your pictures. Sharing has gotten smarter, letting you share at full resolution and suggesting who to share these photos with. Share back suggestions is a neat feature that lets you send photos to a friend, and it uses machine learning to poke them to send photos they took to you. iOS 12's photos sharing uses iMessage's end-to-end encryption. iPad switches to iPhone-like gestures. It's confusing owning both an iPad and a new iPhone X right now because returning to the home screen and opening Control Center are executed by different gestures. The iPad takes cues from the iPhone X with the iOS 12 update. Swipe up from the bottom to return home and check Control Center by pulling down from the top right-hand corner. This may be a prelude to the iPad Pro 2018 that's rumored to include Apple's True Depth camera for Face ID, Animoji and Memoji. Siri shortcuts can find your lost keys, more. Siri shortcuts allows you to assign phrases to tasks. I lost my keys can ring your tile tracker to find keys. Heading home sends ETA notification to roommate, sets thermostat and fan, and brings up the fastest route through Apple Maps. Gallery and library full of pre-configured Siri shortcuts. Siri is getting smarter. It'll know that I lost my keys means to ring your tile tracker. Tile is a handy gadget, but getting to the app is a pain, and having Siri integrated is a game changer for both Tile and our peace of mind. Siri is going to be filled with shortcuts, so much so that Apple is creating a shortcuts app for iOS 12. It'll suggest coffee orders from the place you always order from and message contacts to tell them you're running late, and there's also kayak-based flight information you can call up via voice. By pressing the Add to Siri button, you can then say travel plans and Siri will read back information such as your hotel address. Siri translates new languages, learns motorsport scores. Siri can now translate over 40 language pairs. Motorsport scores, schedules and stats knowledge. Food and celebrity facts knowledge expanded upon. Password search not part of Siri's duties in iOS 12. Try asking Siri to translate something into Spanish. It works, and with iOS 12 it'll be even more robust with over 40 language pairs to aid your international travels. Advertisement. We really hope Siri will be able to translate foreign words into English. That's not possible with iOS 11 at this time when asking Siri what hola means in English. Siri will also learn the language or motorsports, per se. Asking for Formula 1 and NASCAR information will have Siri recite live standings, schedule, roster and stat info. Food knowledge and celebrity facts are also part of the Siri update. Right now, asking how healthy is fish gives a smatter of search results and requires opening up Siri. In the future, specific answers about food will come from the USDA database, citing calories, vitamins, and how healthy the food is overall. Password hunting is now within Siri's grasp, letting you search any saved passwords, according to Apple. We hope this applies to both apps and websites. Apple News.